any Al-Qaeda or any Taliban or anybody else, not a single person, not a group of individuals, not an organization, according to the classical teachings of Quran and Sunnah, has an authority to declare its activities as jihad. This would be a wrong application of word jihad. So coming to this aspect, that why these acts of terrorism and terrorists, the committer of the mass killings of humankind, how they are committing an act of kufr. And the Muslim Ummah should stand up. And this is a religious duty of the scholars and the imams and the religious leaders to convey this message to the young people and to the youth, that this is an act of kufr. They are neither serving Islam, they are neither defending any kind of Islamic interest, and they are not fighting against any other forces. They are fighting against Islam and bringing a bad name to Muslim Ummah and the deen of Holy Prophet, which is the deen of mankind, deen of mercy, deen of love, deen of compassion, and deen of benefit for the whole mankind. So the first, I would like to quote some references, if you allow me, from Quran to establish this point of view, that why I have declared the terrorists and the act of terrorism as kufr. This is something, somebody may say that I have gone beyond those limits which normally the scholars have been going to up to that extent. So I am quoting from Quran. The first of all, we have to keep in our mind that the famous verse of Quran, Man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin aw fasadin fil ard faka'annama qatala an-nasa jamiyya. One of the greatest authority of Islamic theology in the Islamic history. There are two great imams of Islamic authority. No third person is known to be higher than them in the whole of Islamic history. One is Imam Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, and the second is Imam Abul Mansur al-Maturidi. They are one and the same. There are very minor exegetical differences within their own things, not regarding on this subject. So I am quoting, interpreting this particular verse of Quran, which means if anybody kills any person, and let me make it clear, somebody again make an excuse of killing of innocent person is bad. Killing of innocent person is prohibited. Still leaving a big confusion of interpreting the meaning of innocent. Who is an innocent? Who is going to decide the innocent? When they say innocent person, then they keep some spaces for other people. This is innocent and this is not, and this is an innocent, this is not. So let me make it clear according to Islamic law, as a humble student of Islamic law and Islamic jurisprudence. By innocent person, the word of Quran is bighayri nafsin. Man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin. No word innocent has been used in Quran. The word innocent is not used in Quran, neither in Quran nor in Sunnah of Holy Prophet. The word used in the text is man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin. It is very clear and explicit in its meaning. And bighayri nafsin means anybody who kills a person. And please keep in your mind, this ayat is not confined to Muslim, killing of a Muslim. The word nafsan has been used. Any human being, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, equal. Anybody who kills a person, Muslim or non-Muslim, bighayri nafsin, without any lawful right, which is without through a due course of law, due course of court. What is the lawful due course of court? If anybody kills a person who was not an intentional murder of a person, so that he was liable to, according to Islamic penal law, he was liable to death punishment to be executed by the court. This is what is mean bighayri nafsin. Only an intentional murder, according to Islamic penal law, his punishment, he is liable to capital punishment, one. Number two, any terrorist, the mass killer, the person who commits mass killing of mankind, he is liable to death punishment. And number 3, any rebel, if he kills the person during the process of rebellions, if he kills also, he is a person who is liable to capital punishment. Only there are 3 exceptions. You can read, anybody, I am inviting the scholars, they can take up 100 tafsirs, the exegetical documents on this Quranic verse. Nobody would found any other interpretation which I have mentioned other than that. Only 3 persons. If anybody is an intentional murder, then he is liable to death. But nobody can kill him, only if the court holds it. And he has to, the execution of the punishment should be done just through court and a normal procedure of law. Even the heirs of the killed person has no right to kill anybody directly. Nobody can take law in his hands. Or if he is a rebel, in process of his rebellion, he has killed many people. Or if he is terrorist, he is killing mankind, a group of people. So only these 3 persons, they will be taken to the court of law. Court will examine after the evidences. When court gives the degree, he is liable to the execution of the capital punishment. So through court, the punishment would be executed. These 3 categories are known as بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ. No other person belonging to any society, any civilian, maybe civil servant, maybe lady, any woman, maybe any priest, maybe any scholar, maybe any common person belonging to market, no other person in the earth can be killed. So this verse is very clear. The word بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ, the word innocent should not be misinterpreted by some people. Innocent word does not create any room for acts of terrorism on certain people. So Quran says that he is like, and as if, and the other word is fasadin fil ard, and he has created disruption, and disruption is the terrorism. He has created rebellion or terrorism, fasad fil ard, a disruption on the earth, which has endangered the peaceful life of the society through his acts. So he has actually killed the whole of mankind. This is Quranic text. Even if he killed a single person, although he has killed the whole of mankind through this terroristic act. So, interpreting this Quranic verse, Imam Abul Mansur al-Maturidi, he says, I am quoting the particular reference, his tafsir, Ta'wilatu Ahli Sunnah, a great compendium of tafsir, volume 3, page 501, exegesis and interpretation of this particular verse. How I am declare the terrorists, they are out of the ambit of Islam. An act of terrorism is not only haram, it is kufr. And the people are pushing youth by their brainwashing towards kufr, which leads them to hellfire. So they say, Man istahalla qatla nafsin harram Allahu qatlaha bighayri haq. فَكَأَنَّمَا اسْتَحَلَّ قَتْلَ النَّاسِ جَمِيعًا لِأَنَّهُ يَكْفُرُ بِإِسْتِحْلَالِهِ قَتْلَ نَفْسٍ. I would try to explain there are 2 different things. One is an act of killing. Just an act of killing does not make any person disbeliever. Act of killing is an act forbidden. It is a haram act. This act will lead him to fire, hellfire. Act of killing, one thing. Maybe he kills somebody out of his anger, out of retaliation, out of his worldly benefits and his greed to loot anything, like a robber or like a thief and other rebellions. There can be many reasons. Maybe he is revenging somebody who has killed his relative. So all these retributional and these all kind of killings, these killings do not lead him to kufr. This is haram. Now the second thing is istihlalu qatlin nas. The first was qatlun nas, and the second is istihlalul qatl. This is the second jurisprudential reason which makes him to the reason of kufr, that not only does he kill the persons, people, but he considers their killing lawful because of a certain ideology which he has in his mind, which he wrongly has been taught. This is the act which was being committed by the Kharijites. I will come to that subject. Since he not only kills the people through his suicide bombing, through other acts of terrorism, he